read Hebrews 12. Here, I have my King James Version with me here. In verse 25, Hebrews 12:25. See that ye refuse not him that speaketh. Wow. That's an amazing thing. In other words, God has a lot of ways he speaks, through prophets, through the Holy Spirit, through angelic presence, through the fivefold ministry, apostles, prophets, pastors, teachers, evangelists, through perception. He says that that you can know there is a God by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead. I mean, that's Romans 1 and Romans chapter 2. He says you can hear God's voice through your conscience. Your conscience, to me, while accusing or excusing one another. On and on. Yeah, you can go to Numbers chapter 11, and when God deals with Aaron and Miriam about challenging Moses, he lists there about at least 4 ways he speaks. So there's a lot of ways you can hear God's voice. As a believer, it's a matter of your sensitivity to it. Okay? I'm just saying. And he said, don't refuse him that speaks. In other words, don't decide your preferences over your principles if you have some. No, everybody lives by something. They just need to be fixed values. I mean, they need to be things that it doesn't matter whether you're male or female, rich or poor, what culture you are from. Doesn't matter. Those are fixed values, fixed, uniform, and universal. Numbers, if you've heard me say before. See that you refuse not him that speaketh, for if they escape not which refuse him that spake on earth, much more shall you not escape if we turn away from him that speaketh from heaven. Do you have any sense of that when you pray? I mean, do you have any sense that what you're praying and how you're living and the priority you have chosen are heaven's desires for your life? Isn't that the point of Jesus dying? Doesn't that say that in Jeremiah 31? Huh? Jeremiah chapter 31, verses 31 through 34. You shall all know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them. Isn't that the point? That Jesus did not only die so you can miss hell and go to heaven, but so that you can cultivate a relationship with the creator of the whole earth, the whole world, the whole universe. Yeah, sounds like that's amazing, but it's true. I'm sure that if God the Creator hadn't made himself known to me, I would be totally debauchery. Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of reasons for that. My background is the indicator. But God interrupted what I could have been through my past to make himself known to me so that I could choose what he wants for me in my present and also in my future. Yeah. So it says in verse 26 of Hebrews chapter 12, whose voice then shook the earth, but now he hath promised, saying, yet once more I shake not the earth only, but also heaven. Wow. No, that's saying that's pretty strong when he's saying that, like what's going on in Thailand would not just be a problem in Thailand. He says, no, I'm going to shake the earth. But look, and what's the heavens? What's this heavens? Shaking the heavens. Well, that's as you continue to read, but the heavens is, he's already shaken up heavens when he kicked Lucifer, Isaiah 14, Ezekiel 28, out of his shake. 1/3 of the angels are bound in chains. He already shook the heavens. And of course, inclement weather is still a part of the shaking. Lightning, thunder, yeah, wind, he controls all of it. And even Jesus, while on the earth walking in an earthly body, experienced inclement weather. But he knew what to do with it because he knew why he came and who he was. So he shut the storms down and the things that would disrupt his calling and also affirm his power. Yeah. Matter of fact, when the storm came and Jesus was asleep on the boat, the disciples said, Master, carest not that we perish? His word to them is, why is it that you have no faith? I mean, come on, Jesus. You mean you expected them to go ahead and shut the storms down? Well, here's what he expected. that they would still believe that when he said, let's go over on the other side, nothing could have stopped that from happening. No word from God was void of power. Why not stay true to what God already had spoken? And the Lord had to get up and confirm his own demonstration of the integrity of his word by shutting up the storm. And of course, when he did that, it says, and great fear fell upon all of them. In other words, you guys didn't really believe he was God? And then, or you hadn't thought through what could God do? That he doesn't control inclement weather? But isn't the weather of your own heart way more important? He didn't die for the weather conditions externally. He died for the weather conditions of your heart. I'm pausing right now on purpose because you got to hear me. And I'm just doing this in the middle of the day. I'm not just reeling. I feel this. I'm saying it. I don't know who will listen to it, but God is inspiring me to do this. And look, he says in verse 27, I want to read it again. And this word yet once more signifies the removing of those things that are shaken, as of those things that are made, that those things which cannot be shaken may remain. Meaning that, even in that particular country, the high-rise buildings were the ones that seemed to be most dangerous. People that, one particular gentleman was on the 40th floor, and he had to walk down steps when he discovered it really was an earthquake. He said it took him 20 minutes to get down the steps, 40 floors. But he was being passed up by scores of people in that building because the collapse of the building could have been imminent. And there were buildings that had collapsed, pools that were spilling over because of the shaking. The pools that on rooftops were spilling over like waterfalls. And that's actually what was happening. Water was falling. And so, those people were like tremendously afraid. I noticed one journalist, though, what happens to be a female, she refused to use the fear word. She had only been over there 18 months for a BBC network. Keep your pride intact, woman. It's okay. You can do that. But it would have been great to say, well, danger was there, but also God was there. Jesus was present in me, and therefore I was concerned but not afraid. Now, I think that would have been a great testimony. But look, verse 28 of Hebrews 12. Wherefore ye receiving the kingdom which cannot be moved. Woo! Are you in that kingdom? What are you afraid of? Male or female? Rich or poor? Educated, uneducated? What are you afraid of? You say nothing? Yeah, okay. Well, let me tell you this. The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. The fear of man brings a snare. God hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but of love and the power and of sound mind. God didn't say there's no fear in the earth. He said he hadn't given it to you. So you can act brave and bold and not be standing on the efficacy of his word if you want. His appearing to shake you up. He shook them up, and he was there not with his disciples as an enemy, but as their deliverer. And yet, they became afraid when they really saw his competency level. Where are you now in all of this? Now, I got a lot more to say. I'm going to cut this off, and probably I'm going to start another one. But look at verse 28. Wherefore, again, we're receiving a kingdom which cannot be moved. Look, let us have grace whereby we may serve God acceptably with reverence and godly fear. So bless you. Look, be encouraged, for the joy of the Lord is your strength, is my prayer for you. God bless.